Table tennis serves, the only part of our beautiful game where you have 100% power over exactly what's going to happen, and therefore also probably the most important shot in our sport. If this convinced you that you want to improve your serve, this video will be perfect for you, because here I will go through 3 incredible ways to serve to fool opponents on all levels. Let's go! The first extremely important skill we're going to talk about is to be able to serve both long and short, and to have the same movement in your serve as long as possible to make it really hard for your opponent to predict what's going to happen and force them to make mistakes or worse receives. And here are a few advice how to have a long and short serve with the same technique. And to make this really effective, I think that the best you can do is to have your base serve as a short serve. A short serve is easiest to do if you make the bounce on your side very close to the net. And then be able to, in the last millisecond, change from your base technique to a much more explosive technique to create a long, fast serve. The first tip is to have an extreme acceleration in your hip and stomach just in the ball touch. So you have your completely normal base technique, and just when you hit the ball, you make a fast acceleration. So when you do this acceleration, of course, you get a lot of speed in the ball. So if you don't succeed to make the bounce close to the edge on your side, your serve is going to bounce into the net or too long, because it doesn't have time to dive down in this speed. So how do we actually make it easy to hit close to the edge on our side? Here is 2 tips for it. The first one is to bend your leg just a little bit extra in the ball touch. It will make the ball go downwards with the movement from the bending of your legs. And the second advice is that you could try to come over the ball a bit, for example with having an upper body leaning over the ball or making your racket leaning over the ball a bit. I definitely think you should try both alternatives and learn yourself which one suits you the best. But now it's time for the next trick. And this advice is to make it really difficult for your opponents to read the spin in your serves. And it's to be able to make different kind of spins, but using the exactly same movement when you're serving. Sounds impossible, but actually it's not. To make this possible, you need either a serve where you start going downwards and then upwards, or the opposite, where you start going upwards and then downwards. And then it's all about when in your movement you hit the ball. So for example, my favorite serve to do this is when I make a high toss pendulum serve. And here I always start to go downwards in my serve and then kick it upwards. And it makes it quite easy for me to make different kind of spins, but still having the same movement. It's just that if I want to make backspin, I hit the ball when I'm on the way down, and directly I have to go upwards, while when I want to make topspin, I go downwards and then I kick the ball upwards. So I make the same movement, but I hit it in different times of it. If you, for example, do the hook serve instead, you can make it in both ways. I would say when you make the pendulum serve, it's so much easier to always start downwards. But when you make the hook serve, you can decide yourself. You can start with kicking upwards and going down, or you can make a short kick downwards and then going up. And here, my advice is to make the kick as short as possible to fool your opponent's eyes that you're actually going in the other direction. Another really cool example of when you can make different kind of spin depending on when you hit the ball is the tomahawk serve. The tomahawk serve, you just straight out your arm and the racket will go upwards first, then it will go sidewards and finish downwards. So if you hit it early in the movement, you will create topspin. If you hit it in the middle of the movement, you will create side spin. And if you hit it late in the movement when the racket is on the way downwards, you're going to create backspin. And if you succeed to make just small changes of when you hit the ball, but create a different kind of spin, it will be so hard for your opponents. Before the last trick to fool your opponent, I just want to say that I have the luck to say that this video is sponsored by Stiga. And this is perfect because a good racket and good material that suits you are extremely important to have a good serve. And I think that Stiga have material in absolutely world class. And I can also say that I have the luck that I can give you 15% discount on all of their assortment on their website. And I will give you the code down in the description of this video. Now we move on to the last advices. And this is to have your base serve movement, who is a cross serve, but to be able in the last millisecond to make a change and serve straight. And this works very well, both if you want to do fast serves, for example, if you want to do an ace, or if you play against someone who play with the opposite hand of you, it's very, very effective with long, fast, straight serves. Or if you want to serve short, for example, getting an easy ball to attack on next. The long, fast serve is a little bit high risk, high reward. The coolest serve you can do is probably when you make a fast serve, where you in the last millisecond change to make it straight and succeed to make an ace on your opponent. But at the same time, if they read it right, it could be a quite easy ball for them to attack. The short serve instead is like low risk, a little bit lower reward, because there is a big chance that your opponent will take your serve, but that they will be a little bit late for it and you will get an easy ball to work on next. But at the same time, even if they expect the ball coming, it's not so likely that they will do a really, really high quality receive, so you will still have a good chance to win the point. And I would say that it is two very good ways to do this. One of the ways is to take help from your hip. You have your base movement where you serve a cross serve, and then when you want to make a straight serve, you make an extra rotation in your hip after the ball hits to make the direction change. And the other way to do it is to change the direction in the ball touch. So you have your movement, and just when you hit the ball, you change the angle of your racket. And here are two examples of how that can look. Another way you can do the straight fast serve is to lift your elbow just before the ball hits to change the angle of your racket.